Hello and welcome to Counting Like It's 1479. Going to be a very quick video today. I wanted to talk about a personal finance program that has been on my radar for a long time. Someone engaged me in conversation about it last week, reminded me about it, and that I've wanted to talk about it. So today's the day. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of Matthias Hochgetterer's Finances 2, a great program for the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. I have loved this program for a while. In particular, I love it because it seems to bring a real elegance to the user interface that is missing in a lot of the other options. Finance programs, particularly personal finance programs, can get buried under features and get complicated very quickly. And Matthias has really zeroed in on what's the essential element of a personal finance program and made something that does just that really well. So let me show this application to you. One of the things I really like about Finances 2 is this introduction screen. The very first time you run the program, it gives you a very basic introduction to double entry accounting. Just kind of letting you know that this idea that there are two accounts for everything and money is always, in every circumstance, going to flow out of one and into the other. The other thing you'll note is that the program is very consistent in this idea that when money is flowing into something, the number is green, and when it's flowing out of something, the number is red. It's an instinctive sort of UI, but surprisingly few programs use it. On an accessibility note, that is a feature that colorblind users might have trouble with. So let's actually take a look at what happens when you get past that introduction screen. The first thing that happens is it asks you whether you're creating a business ledger or a personal ledger. This is going to go to what chart of accounts the program uses, or you can skip this entirely and create your own chart of accounts. We've chosen personal, so we get a welcome screen giving us a few options to create a new journal, to import data, or to get some help. Well, you know what? I kind of want to know what happens if I'm already using some other accounting system. One place where Finances 2 is a little bit limited is in its import options. It basically understands its own backups and CSV. Now, the CSV importer is pretty flexible, but I think most people are going to find this a long row to hoe to actually massage their existing accounting data into Finances 2 preferred CSV format. So let's skip this and just create a new journal. So Finances has started here and given us a basic chart of accounts suitable for personal finances. We've got a checking account, we've got some cash, credit card, and a few income and expense accounts, along with this equity opening balances account. This is kind of throwing people at the deep end, but let's roll with it and see what we get. One thing I do want to point out is that Finances on the Mac supports both light and dark mode. I think it looks better in dark mode, so I'm going to use that here. And the iPad UI is similarly beautiful. So there's no transactions here. I'm going to click the friendly Let's Go button, and it gives me a pop-up menu. So what are we going to do? Well, we want to first get our account set up. So let's set up our opening balance. Let's say we've got $5,000 in our checking account. So we'll put $5,000 there, and you could see that immediately the default that it suggests is to take that $5,000 from the opening balance. Let's say that's October 1st is when we started using this, and we now have a transaction. And if we look at our different accounts, we can see that our checking account has a $5,000 balance, and our opening balance has negative $5,000. Let's also put some cash here. I'm going to right click, and we're going to say it's a new transfer from opening balance. We'll say I've got $100 in cash on me. And I think that our credit card should also have a balance that I carried from last month. Wonder what's going to happen if I choose transfer. Is that going to give me a positive or a negative amount? Let's say it's that I owe $1,000. That looks to me like it's giving me a positive balance, though. Well, let's see what happens if I put an expense on the credit card. Let's say that I had to go to the doctor and I paid with my credit card and it was $150. No, that looks correct. adjusted the dates there. Now we can see that the credit card has a balance displayed on this beautiful chart as $1,150. And over here, it's showing us essentially a roll-up of the bottom line of the income statement for that account. Let's go ahead and create some more expenses. Let's say we shopped for groceries and spent $80, and we shopped for what else? I went out to dinner and I got a hot dog and it was $6.50. It's an expensive hot dog, actually. And these are all on the same day. You know what? I'm going to change some of these dates just so that our chart looks a little better. And we'll make this October 6th. So I think that what they're doing here is really fascinating. Traditionally, most of your double entry programs, most of your double entry bookkeeping programs are going to give you this kind of ledger, and you're going to edit items in the ledger. What Finances 2 is doing here is making all of the input and editing, in fact, in this panel-based view. And it has pluses and minuses. The pluses are that it's very easy to understand. You've got all of your most essential information right up here. Changing things is very easy. Let's say, oh, it wasn't really a hot dog. That was an Uber fee. Can you imagine getting an Uber for only $6.50? Very easy to make the edit. And you could see that when I made the edit, it's very easy to understand. It's a good use of color. These colors can be customized in case you are color impaired, or in case you just don't like them, you want them to look a little bit different. So I think that that's great. The drawback of it is if you're entering a huge number of transactions, this kind of panel-based view is going to get old pretty fast. It's going to feel a little brittle. Now, most of us in our personal lives are not entering hundreds of transactions a day. So on balance, I think this is exactly the right choice to make for a personal finance program. I'm going to flip this to light mode so you could see what it looks like there. Let's say, for example, I know I'm going to a concert and I'm going to need more than $100 of cash because I want to buy t-shirts, drinks, whatever I'm going to get there. So we'll go to our checking, and let's go to our cash and say we're going to transfer some money from our checking account. Let's do October 7th for that. And we'll say I took another $143, I don't know why, out of my checking account. Again, under the hood, Finances 2 is definitely doing debits and credits, but it's assiduously avoiding those words. It's phrasing everything in terms of positive amounts and negative amounts. And I think most people are going to be able to understand that. When $143 goes into your cash, it's coming out of your checking account. All right, let's say we get then paid on October 8th. Well, that's going to be income. So right now we only have this one income account, salary. Let's say that my income is a depressing $650. I said October 8th, didn't I? We're going to do that. And there. And all of the charts update immediately. You don't have to go into a special mode to get a visualization of your finances. You could just go through your accounts and see where you are. There is also kind of an overview. And here we could see every transaction that I've entered in the past few minutes. And again, nice use of color if you're not colorblind. We've got $650 of income, $236.50 of expenses. There are tooltips as I hover the mouse over these to tell us exactly what we're looking at. That is essentially showing us our net income minus expenses. So great, we're in the green. That's fantastic. So the work that Matthias Hochgatterer has done here is to essentially hide the idea that these things are accounts. If you kind of just approach this program from a naive point of view, these look exactly like the categories in programs like Quicken that almost everyone is used to. They really are accounts. There are transfers back and forth, and these things are being treated as double entry. But again, he's kind of avoided the use of the confusing terminology. There are groups here. It is very easy to simply rename things, put them in a different group, change the currency. The program supports multi-currency, which is really impressive, and change the color over here. On the whole, I think this is a really slick program. I love Finances too, and I've had it on my radar for a long time. Unfortunately, it's not a program that I could use because I have certain needs that are beyond it, but this program has gotten so little attention when I think really it is one of the most elegant personal finance programs on the Mac. Drawbacks, well, it does not support bank feeds, which for some people is a deal breaker. And it doesn't really have native support for equities and investments. You can do it. In fact, I have done it in Finances by doing a little more work to kind of simulate what's going on under the hood, but it doesn't have a stock symbol lookup or things like that. So that might be a deal breaker for some people. If it's not, if you're satisfied tracking your stock and bond investments in some other way, then I really do encourage you to take a look at Finances too. It has two other features that are worth talking about. One of them is great sync. So there is a Mac version of this program and there is an iOS version of this program. He provides sync via iCloud between the two versions. There's no extra kind of fee or subscription for that. You buy the program, it's yours. You can sync between all of your instances of it. The price, it's $50 or $49.95 on Mac and $10 on iOS. As near as I can tell, the platforms have the exact same features. It's just a question of which UI you prefer. So that's Finances too. I wanted to talk about this for a long time, and now finally I have. This has been Counting Like It's 1479. Thanks for watching.